Hey, it's drlindadavis, and today I want to walk you through how to take some images, put them in GIMP, highlight certain parts of the image, and then how to put it back in PowerPoint and coordinate those bulleted points or text boxes with the images. So we'll alternate with images somewhat, and how to show you to put the arrows in, how to time the arrows out. So let me play these couple of slides in this particular PowerPoint to show you how this is going to work. Let me launch the slideshow. This is kind of midway, and we have the original image, and then I'm going to click, and then the description of the image pops up, and this next image layers over there. In this image, we've taken it into GIMP and we've modified it to highlight that particular part of the image. And then we have an arrow coming in pointing to it as well. And then we go through, we click through the rest of the slide, rest of the bullet points, and then we go to the next slide. And we kind of continue to do that. We highlight the seating area, we highlight the panels in the back, and notice the other two items in the image are not highlighted right now. So I want to show you that process for creating that particular look in PowerPoint. So let me escape out of that. Let me go to GIMP. We're going to bring up GIMP. And I'm going to bring up the original image. And I have this for my students in their CIS 295 student files called Home Theater 2. And I'm just going to open that up. And it's just the regular image. It's not been darkened yet. I'm going to keep that image like it is. And I'm going to go up to File, Save As, and I'm going to basically make a copy of this. And I'm going to call this one Home Theater Dark Projector, because that's the thing I'm going to actually highlight in here. And I'm going to make it a .png file, and I'm going to save it in my own folder, and students should save it in their own folder as well. And so let me save it. Now if you've got the newer version of GIMP, it's going to say, well, you need to export this file. And if you have the older version, it doesn't ask you that. It just takes the fact that you've changed it to a .png. But this part, this blue hyperlink, take me to the export dialog. Just click on that if you have the newer version of GIMP. And it'll just change it to an export situation, which is fine. And I'll just go ahead and save it and hit replace because I already had one in there. Hit export. And then if you look up at the name Home Theater Dark Projector, this is the one you want to actually darken. And then we're going to highlight just the projector area on this one. So let's go ahead and darken it. We can go up to Colors and drive down to Brightness and Contrast, because we're just going to darken it. And you get your slider bars, so you can darken it. We're just affecting the brightness. We are not affecting the contrast. So just grab that bar and pull it back. And we're just going to darken that image somewhat. And you can just say OK once you get that part done. Now, we want to bring up the original image, so I'm going to bring it back up. And that's it right there. So open. And that's the original image that's not been darkened. And I'm just going to grab the projector part out of here. Rather old projector style, but anyway, it'll work for our purposes today. So I just took the rectangle select tool in the toolbox, and I drew this over the areas I wanted to grab for just a regular, projector. It'll look highlighted when you put it on a darkened image. So it's selected at this point. I want to copy it. So I'm going to use my keyboard shortcuts, Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to go back to the darkened image that I've already saved, which if you have new GIMP, it's the new version, it's just keeps them up there. So here's the darkened version. Now, in the newer version, you can go up to Edit, Paste As, New Layer in Place. For those of you that have the older version of GIMP, you just say Paste As New Layer. But Paste As New Layer in Place keeps you from having to line it up exactly. Like the older version, you have to pick, paste as new layer, and then you have to match it up exactly with the move tool to get it in the exact place. So this is kind of nice, new layer in place. Let's use that one. There we go. And it just remembers where it should go and plants it right in there. So now you click away, and now we got to merge. Obviously, if you look at your merge or at your layers panel over here, you've got 2 layers, so we need to merge those now. So I'll go up to layer and then, not layer, I'm sorry. Let me go to image and then merge visible layers, Control M, okay? So do that. And then when the merge thing pops up, just say merge. And then you just need to save it. And you've already, make sure it's a .png. If that comes up, just change it to .png again. And make sure you go to your folder and that you save it in your folder that you intend to save it in. And I'm going to hit save, and then it's going to come up with the, you know, it needs to be exported. So I'm just going to hit that little blue hyperlink to take me to the export screen. And then I'll just make sure I'm still in the same folder, obviously, and hit export. And I'll just say replace. Export. Okay. So this is the one that I'll need, this one and 2 more just like it as far as the same process goes. I'll need one that highlights the chairs. I'll need one that highlights the back panel. So let me go in and do that for the next one. So I'll just start with my original one again, and I'll just say select none to make my marching ants kind of go away there. And let me make a copy of this one. And have to change it to a .png. I'm also going to change the name a little bit, Home Theater Dark. This will be seating, or the chairs, or whatever you want to call it. And I want to save it back in my folder. Students should save it in their folder. And let me open the 295 folder. So Home Theater Dark Seating .png. And again, I'm going to get that little cannot, you know, do it as is, but need to export, which is fine. And make sure it stays as .png up there, and just say export, export. Okay. Now this is the copy one. This is the one that says Home Theater Dark Seating now up here, and I want to darken it first. So let me go up to colors again. Same process as before. Brightness, contrast, and just, you know, tone it down. Take it down darker. Seems like my mouse doesn't want to work as good. Okay. And then say okay. And then you need the, see, do I have the, no, somehow I lost the regular one. So let me open the regular one again. I think that's it right there. Okay. And I want to get the chairs this time. So I'm going to do rectangle select, and I'm going to highlight those chairs, get all the chairs in there, make sure all the way down to the bottom so it's easier to match up. All right, there we go. And then I will copy that with Control C. I'll jump back to my darkened seating one here, and I'm going to go to Edit, Paste as, New Layer, in place. If you have newer GIMP, if you have the older version, just paste as New Layer, and then drive it over to where it should match up. So New Layer in place remembers where it went and puts it right over there. And then I need to say merge, sorry, I need to merge. So merge visible layers, merge, and then I need to save it. File, save, and it's reverted back to .xcf, so I don't want that. I want it to be .png, so it'll show up in PowerPoint. And hit and make sure, wait, I'm not in the right spot, so let me go to my folder. Oops, no, wrong year. There we go. And save it in there. It's going to give me that please export it notification, so I will hit the blue link for that and hit export. Just making sure I'm still in the right folder. Replace, yeah, export, okay. All right, so that's the second image I need for the PowerPoint, and the third image is same process again. We'll just open up, I don't think I have, yeah, I do have this one, okay. I do have this one. Let me just turn off the marching ants there. Let me make a copy of this one again because I don't want to mess up the original. And this one's going to be home theater, dark. I'll just call it wall panel. It's just the wall panel in the back. Now I don't want it to be .xcf. I want the file format to be .png. And I will save it in my folder, students. Like I said before, save these extra ones in your folder. And I will hit save. It will prompt me to do the blue link here for exporting, and then I hit export and export. There we go. And okay, now I'm ready to darken this one that I've got set up for dark wall or for wall panel. Okay, so to make it dark, I'm going to go to colors, brightness, contrast, and again, just drive it down to dark. Say okay, and then bring open the home theater to regular one. And this time I'm going to get that back wall panel selected. So I hope you see the logic of what we're kind of doing here. I'm selecting that back wall panel, copying it, going back to the darkened one that says dark wall panel, and then I'll edit, paste as, new layer in place. There it is. And then we'll merge. So image, merge visible layer, merge, and then save it. So file, save, and go back, save it in your folders, in your own folder, and I will save it in mine. And is .xcf changed on me, so let me make that PNG. It's something with the new version that I have yet to get totally used to, that the old version didn't do. So I'll save, get the blue link, click on the blue link about exporting it, so then I'll export it and hit replace, export again, and that should be all three images. Now I'm ready to jump into PowerPoint. And I'm not going to do the PowerPoint from beginning to end, but I just want to jump in on slides 3 and 4 and show you how these images and arrows coordinate with each other. Let me bring up, well actually let me just make a copy of this slideshow. I think it might be easier to show it that way. Home theater, copy. And I'll just save it. And for this copy, I'm going to just delete slides 3 and 4 basically and rebuild them so you can kind of see how that rolls. So after slide 2 plays, there are some components of slide 2 that show up on slide 3. So we have that shows up again. So I can take I can create and add a slide in there. Let me just take slide 2, copy it and paste it into slide 3. And just let me take off the stuff I don't need. I don't need that picture. I don't need these bullets. And I can add what slide 3 does need. And let's see. Let me bring the first one up again so I can have that to refer back to. And so what we want is, we've got major components, we've got surround sound system, and we want to have the original image. Remember, if this one plays, you want the original image, and then picture display pops up, and then we start our bullets and the action that goes with that. Okay. Alright, so let me go back to the unfinished one. And we have picture display pops in there. Let me see about the order on that. Let me bring up my animation pane so I can kind of see what happens when. Picture display is second. So it's the picture, the words picture display, and then the 3-tube projector comes up. Okay. Let's insert the picture, and that's the original picture that we've been working with. I'm going to pop that one in from my files that students can get to. Home Theater 2. Comes in kind of small, so just resize that. I think we're going to put like a white border around that and picture border to make it about 4.5. Now we need to animate this. So I'm going to go up to animations, add animation, wipe from top, and with the animation pane, let me click that on. Make sure that's after previous, since it's images should always be after previous. Now we want to put in picture display. That's just a little text box. Actually, it's the same size as that one, so I'm just going to copy that down, change the words to say picture display. And then we're going to have, and it comes when I copied it copied over the animation as well, which is fine. And then I'm going to have the first bullet point, so I'll insert that text box for a bullet. And then I'll add the bullet, and I believe it's like 32 bold, black, and it was 32 projector. And it needs animation, so I'm going to go to animations, and I'm going to do blinds, horizontal for that, and it should be on click, which is the default setting. Now the next part is the next image that wipes over the top of this image, which looks very similar, except it has a highlighted projector part. So I'm going to insert picture, and these images are not in the common folder. It's basically back in my folder, so let me go back and get that one out. Remember we named it Home Theater Dark Projector, so I'm going to insert that one, and I'll just drag it down there and resize it. It should, same shape and everything, so, and just put your picture border around it. And then we want to animate this picture, so animations, we'll add animation, wipe from top, after previous, like we always do with our pictures. And so you can see, let's just double check when we launch to kind of show what's happening so far. I want 32 projector. As soon as I click to make that bullet come in, this image comes in after previous, which means automatically. Now I need to have an arrow pointing at the projector, so I'm going to insert that arrow. To find arrows, you go to insert shapes, and then go down to lines, and then you'll see an arrow there. So you draw the arrow initially. It's not formatted, it's just a thin blue line, but go to shape outline, and that will let you change it to the proper color, which I'm using red today, and the proper weight, which will be 4.5 point. Now arrows need animation as well, so we go up to animations, add animation. Wipe is the natural choice for an arrow, and the next door in effect options, the direction, that's up, you think about logically, if you were to draw this arrow on a board, on a chalkboard or a whiteboard, how would you draw it from what direction to what direction? So obviously from left on this one, and then now that it's appearing in the animation pane, you can decide what start it needs. Well, arrows typically start after previous, so they automatically happen after you click to make the bullet come in. So basically it's bullet, picture, and then the arrow connecting the two. And then you want to go in to the down arrow, and on the arrow itself you want to go into effect options, because you have to control your arrows. They can clutter up your slide real quick if you don't take control of this. So just your arrow, after animation in the effects tab where it says don't dim, you need to click on the bottom arrow, the arrow pointing down, and the choice you want to make here is hide on next mouse click. So I'm going to click on that one. So that arrow will stay there as long as you're on that particular bullet point. And then when you go to click for the next bullet to arrive, that arrow will disappear, which is what you want to happen. We don't want arrows hanging around. All right, so we actually have two more bullet points that come up. So my quick way is to just copy the existing bullet, pull it down, copy and paste, and just change the words to what it needs to say, which I need to look back on my original LCD or DLP. Okay. And one more, which I can just paste again, Control V to paste. The last one was just HDTV. Oops, there you go. And these bullets already have animation, as you can see as they light up, because I copied them from the one that I did finish. I have lots of shortcuts like that throughout. Now, let's see, major components, I forgot to turn the animation off on these, so remove the animation from major components. Reason being, it already animated on slide 2. Same thing with surround sound system. It already showed up on slide 2, so we don't want it to animate again, so I'm removing that animation as well. Picture display was new. Everything else on here was new to the slideshow, so all the other animation stays. So when I play this from slide 3, a lot going on obviously. The stuff that was on the previous slide does not animate, only the new stuff. So that, I believe that animated. Let me double check. Yeah. There we go. There's slide 2 real fast. And then let me hit slide 3. There we go. Click. A lot happens with that. Click again. Arrow goes away. And there's our other 2 bullets. Now, I do not typically set dim color if I am stacking, which means I'm alternating text and images here. And then slide 4, same thing going on pretty much. It's not bullets this time. It's more text boxes with arrows. So let me just kind of show you this one. Again, some items now, don't animate, but the new stuff does. Comfortable seating. Obviously, we have our seating image. There's our arrow. We click again, wall panels, decoration, and lighting comes up with its proper arrow. The previous arrow goes away because we had it set to hide on next mouse click. So my shortcut for this particular slide part is, let me go back to the one that we haven't finished yet. We need a slide 4, and there's a lot of similarities between slide 3 and 4. So what I'm going to do is go to the slide sorter in slide 3. I'm going to copy that and paste it, and that gives me slide 4. That is really just an exact duplicate of slide 3. Now, how does this help me? Well, because I can go into slide 4 and delete what I don't need and keep what I can use again. So major components, I need that. Surround sound system, I need that. Picture display can stay. It just doesn't need animation this time because it already appeared on slide 3. So I'm going to take the animation away from the picture display. Now, I don't need this picture. This is the projector picture. We already talked about that on slide 3. I don't need this to say 3.2 projector. I don't even need the bullet on this one. I just need it to say comfortable seating. Let me stretch that out just a bit more. The arrow, let me redirect the arrow just a little bit. And then I don't need the bullet either, so let me take the bullet out. And the other one I need to here is no bullet, but I just need it to say wall panels. There were several things on that phrase. Wall panels, decoration, and lighting. Okay. Wall panels, decoration, and lighting. Okay. Now stretch that out. And I don't need this last text box really. And I don't need the bullets. Let me get the bullet out of there. Alright, so let me pick up where I need to. I need the image to come in that says comfortable seating. And you may say, well, why are you leaving the arrow there? Well, I can reuse that arrow. But let me go ahead and get the next image in. So insert picture. The one where you said home theater dark seating is what I named it. Brings in that one that's featuring the seating. And let me put the right border on there. Okay, and let me animate that one. So animations, add animation, wipe from top after previous. And the order, obviously the animation is not in the right order. So it needs to come in after comfortable seating. I can see where that is. So right before the arrow. So the picture 4 needs to push back, or whatever it calls itself, picture, whatever in yours. So I have this text box, comfortable seating, then I need this picture, and then I will need the arrow. Now on the arrow, let me highlight it or activate the arrow. Notice how it's coming in, but then it disappears behind the picture. That's because it's remembering the order that you originally had. So there's a way to fix that. I mean, if you become too frustrated, just delete the arrow and redraw the arrow back in. But if you are comfortable, just take this arrow, go to Format, and where it says bring forward, go into that tool and select, say, bring to front, and that will force the arrow to come to the front. Now, obviously, I don't need it pointing at the projector. I need it pointing at the seating. So there we go there, and maybe let me line it better up on a little bit better up on that side, so that's a little better there. And then this last text box is here, which is obviously animated already, but I need the picture that it goes with, as well as the arrow. Okay, so let me insert the next picture, which is home theater dark wall panel. There it is. Let's make that a little bigger, set it down, put the picture border around it. Almost done here. And we need to animate that since the wall panels are highlighted there. So wipe from top after previous. And then we have to connect the two. There's the text box, there's the image, and then the last arrow. Okay. Now with the arrow, you can create it from scratch. Just insert shape and pick arrow, or you can take the arrow that you already have formatted pretty much. You can just activate it, copy it, and paste. Whoops, let me copy that again and paste that. Didn't quite take. There we go. Copy and paste, and then just drive the arrow down to where it connects to the right thing. So this is going to point back at the back wall panel where you have lighting and movie posters and stuff like that. Now it remembers the animation as well. So it's wipe from left, it's after previous, and it hides on next mouse click. So it's got a lot built into it already. And let's just kind of play this and see how it rolls. All right, so I click, and I click, and you can see real quick how that works. Now I think one little thing I can make better here. I realize that I don't think I needed to highlight that or animate that original image on slide 4. So I'm going to take the animation off of that. I think I don't really need that. And let me put those back in place. But that's why you launch these things several times, to make sure that you didn't forget to do something. All right, so that's 3 going into 4, and then click, comfortable seating, wall panels, decoration and lighting. Okay, there we go. So that's how 4 times out. So lots going on in slides 3 and 4. A lot of good skills to be learned in there about highlighting images in GIMP, and then how to time them out when you put them in a PowerPoint. I hope this PowerPoint on the home theater demonstration has helped you out. Thank you for your time.